Hello folks, this is a little bit of an intro to how to do project 3 in computer applications, the visual merchandising arts cookbook. We're supposed to make a 4-page document in InDesign with this kind of setup, 4, 1, 2, 3. We're supposed to have margins of this size. We're supposed to have 2 columns of text, 1.5 inch wide sidebar on the master page, take the sidebar off on page 1, and then build at least 5 style sheets right there. So I'm going to show you how to do those kind of things fairly quickly, but you can pause this video as necessary and make it happen, change it for yourself. Command N gives me a new document or file new, and then there we can set up our page size. I want to be in inches here. I want a page that is 8 inches wide, 5 inches tall, horizontal format, landscape, 4 pages, and I'm going to start with page 1. Make sure facing pages is turned on. That means that your pages will be facing each other like a book. I'm going to have 2 columns on my page. Column gutter happens to be 1/8 of an inch. That's fine. It could be a little bit more, but don't make it really big. Margins are supposed to be top and bottom 1/2 inch, inside 1/4 inch, and outside 1.75. If you can't do that, unclick this button, because when that's clicked, it means all of them have to be the same. So this one we're going to make 0.25, this one 1.75. Bleed and slug. Bleed is how much room you have around the outside of the page for ink to run off the page. That's set right now for 1/8 of an inch, and that's correct, and it's the same all the way around. I don't need a slug. A slug is a little opportunity to put something on the plate, the printing plate. So there's my document. Perfect. I want to take a look at my layers palette. I'm going to have to switch into something else here for a second, because InDesign is remembering the page size from when I was hooked up to the projector. We just talked about this minutes ago. So for now, I'm going to turn off paragraph styles. Here's my page menu. So as you can see, I've got page 1, 2, 3, and then 4. I really want 4 up here. So I'm going to have to make this page, page 4. Double click on the page to select it. Hamburger menu. Numbering and section options. You all know how to do this. Number 4. Okay. Now I got 4, 5, 6, 7. I want this page to be page 1. Double click again. Hamburger menu. Numbering and section options. Page 1. Poof. Now I've got 4, 1, 2, 3. Just what I want. I've got a bleed turned on. I've got my columns there. If I take a look at this if I press the W key, I don't see any of that stuff. W is like preview for the document. It's also available right down here. If you hold that down, you get normal preview. Now, I want to put something on the master page that will show up on every page. So if I double click on my master, it will take me back to the master pages. You notice there's little A's here in the corner. That means they are drawing from a master. All those pages show up as A pages. So I'm going to go here. This box, this is rectangle frame tool for pictures. This is just a rectangle tool. I'm going to draw a rectangle here, starting on the bleed on the outside there, and bring it over here, and I make that box. I want it 1.5 inches wide, but that doesn't include the bleed. So up above here, you can see I'm making it 1.625 inches wide, which is 1.5 plus the 1/8 of an inch that's here on the bleed, plus, and it's 5.25 inches tall. 5 inches tall for the page, plus 1/8 of an inch there and there to add in the bleed. There's no stroke on it. I don't want a stroke on it. I do, however, want to fill, and I want to fill it with a color. I don't like the colors that are in here. I make a new color, and I want to call it my sidebar color. So we're going to make that a color. I'll get rid of all this black and maybe bring in some yellow and magenta and make kind of a nice warm brown color. Ooh, that looks yummy. Maybe toast. I don't know, something like that. I don't want to name it with a color value. I want to call that sidebar color, because then I can go back and make that color what I want. I can edit this color and have it change as necessary. Okay, there's my sidebar. What I'm going to do is just grab that sidebar. It's the right size. I just want another one over here on this side. So if I hold down still have my rectangle tool selected, but if I hold down Command, I get my cursor. If I hold down Option, it says make me another one. And if I hold down Shift, it says make me another one, and make it go exactly horizontal. So now I can put that right where I want it on the other ones, and now I've got sidebars on both masters. You see it's here in the master, and bang, it shows up all of the pages of my document. But I'm supposed to turn the sidebar off on the page 1. So I double click on page 1. There's my sidebar. I can't select it because it's on the master page. But if I go here and say override master page items, now I can select it on page 1 only and wipe it out. So now I'm good. All right, the last thing we want to talk about is how to set up style sheets. If I wanted to put a little bit of copy right here and say, I'm making a wonderful dish for you, and then I can choose what typeface I want that to be in. As I says in the document, you're supposed to have 5 different styles at least. I don't think you'll have a hard time doing that because you'll need things like headlines, subheads, captions for photos, body text, instructions, sidebar copy. There are all kinds of things that are going to show up in here. Those show up right now when I type. It shows up in Minion Pro, 12-point type, all the default stuff. I want to do that in Lucian BT because it's a really cool typeface, and I want to set that in 24-point because I want it to be one of the primary things that shows up in my document. Leading automatically comes in at 120%, so 20% plus. So that's why this shows up as 28.8. I can leave it that way, or I can say, no, let's make that solid 24 on 24. It's a little bit tight in here. Maybe I'll make that 24 on 30 just because I can. Okay, so now I'm happy with that. I can even go in here and change the color of that type to, let's say, cyan. So now I've got kind of a cool thing happening there. I want to be able to use this style of type everywhere in my document. I'm not suggesting this is a good idea for you, but I'm just showing you how to do it. So where I want to be is Window, Styles, Paragraph Styles. And what I'm going to do is establish a new style, new paragraph style, and I'll call it recipe text. Okay, so that's recipe text. I go back here to my style menu and say the thing that I've got my cursor in right now, that is, I'm going to call it recipe text. So I've applied that style to that piece of text. Now this is the fun part. I draw another text box here and say, you will love it! Exclamation mark. That type right now as it stands came up in the basic boring stuff, Minion Pro, 12-point, whatever. But if I just go here and say click recipe text, it matches. There's my style. I've applied it now. I can use that throughout my document. Here's the other nice thing. If I go back and say recipe text, you're a little bit loud and you're a little bit too big, I'm going to go back and fix this. Double click on recipe text. It will open this document back up again. Go to basic character formats and say I want to change the typeface to Madrone, or I want to change the style. This is actually not the color, this is the style. The color is down here, character color. I can change that to green. I can go back here and change things like indents and spacing. I'm going to change the alignment from left to right so it aligns on the right side, and then say OK, and poof, all my type, all that recipe text that I had set up is still recipe text, but now it's Madrone, green, and align right. So those are the things that you need to know how to do. Set up the document, use the master pages, and then set up style sheets. Hopefully that is a bit of a help. We will talk more about this soon. Bye.